In this movie, I'll show you how to open a document inside Illustrator just by double-clicking on its icon here at the Macintosh Finder. If you're working under Windows on a PC, then just go ahead and skip to the next movie. Now, obviously, we all know how to double-click on a file. The trick is to make sure that when you do so, that file, if it's supported by Illustrator, opens automatically inside Illustrator and not some other program. So currently, I'm looking at the contents of the O1 Create Doc folder, which is available to those of you who have access to the exercise files that are included with this course. I'm also looking at the thumbnail view, which you can get by clicking on this first view icon up here in the toolbar. Now notice, in addition to these other files, we have 3 files that are called welcome.ai, welcome.eps, and welcome.svg. If for some reason you're not seeing those file extensions, then you can go up to the Finder menu and choose the Preferences command. Then click on the Advanced icon and turn on this checkbox, Show All File Name Extensions. But most likely you'll be able to see the extensions either way. Alright, so I'll just close that panel. Now we're going to start off here with this .ai file. AI stands for Adobe Illustrator, and it represents Illustrator's default file format, which you're going to use about 99 out of 100 times when saving your illustrations. And so notice, if I double-click on this file, it opens automatically inside Illustrator. And I can tell I'm inside Illustrator because I'm seeing these tools over here on the left-hand side of the screen. I'm seeing a column of panel icons over on the right side. I'm also seeing the horizontal control panel at the top of the screen, and most obviously, I'm seeing the words Illustrator CC on the far left side of the menu bar, which means that I'm working inside the program, and it also means that I can edit the illustration to any extent that I like. This is a file that I drew from scratch inside of Illustrator, thus demonstrating that it's sufficiently powerful to create full-blown, professional quality artwork. Now, when I showed this drawing of Michelangelo's David to a couple of people, they were under the impression that he looks angry. In fact, he's supposed to look apprehensive. And the reason is that Illustrator is an extremely challenging program. It is, in fact, the most powerful vector drawing program there is. And as much as we would like to hope otherwise, that power comes at a price. But just as David conquered Goliath, we are going to conquer this program, I assure you. All right, now let's check out the other 2 file formats. I'll go up to the Illustrator CC menu and I'll choose Hide Illustrator so that we can see that folder of thumbnails. And notice this next file, welcome.eps. EPS stands for Encapsulated Postscript, and it's an old school file format that was originally designed to allow you to export graphics from programs like Illustrator and then import them into page layout programs such as, say, Quark Express. Now, EPS isn't, strictly speaking, a necessary file format these days. In fact, it's quite antiquated, but it's commonly used in various countries. And if you find such a file, you can open and edit it inside Illustrator. But notice, if I double-click on this thumbnail, for whatever reason, it opens inside of Apple's Preview utility, which means that I can zoom in on the artwork by clicking on this zoom icon right here, and I can zoom in virtually as far as I like. But notice, if I scroll over a little bit here so that we can see David's face, you might be able to make out these thin outlines around these regions of shading, which aren't actually part of the file. Also, we don't have any ability to edit this drawing inside of Preview, which is obviously not what we want. So I'm going to go up to the Preview menu and choose the Quit command in order to quit the utility. And I'm going to set things up so that EPS files from now on open inside Illustrator. And you do that by right-clicking on the file and choosing the Get Info command, which, in case you're interested, has a keyboard shortcut of Command-I. And that's going to bring up this panel right here. Now, you want to make sure that this Open With area is twirled open so that you can see a list of applications. And then go ahead and click on this pop-up menu and choose the most recent version of Illustrator CC. Then go ahead and click the Change All button. That's going to bring up an alert message asking you if you really want to open all EPS files inside Illustrator CC in the future. And assuming you do, just go ahead and click on the Continue button. And then you can close the Get Info command. And now, if you double click on this thumbnail, the file will open here inside Illustrator. All right, we still have one more file format, so I'll return to the Illustrator menu and choose Hide Illustrator. And now notice this guy right here, welcome.svg. SVG stands for Scalable Vector Graphics, and it's a popular file format for creating scalable vector graphics that you intend to distribute on the web or some other screen device. And as with AI and EPS files, your best tool for editing a scalable vector graphic is Illustrator. But notice on this particular machine, if I go ahead and double click on this file, it opens inside of Firefox, which is a popular web browser. Now, the good news is that I can scale this graphic by going up to the View menu, choosing Zoom, and then choosing the Zoom In command, which, as you can see, has a keyboard shortcut of Command+. And then I'll press that keyboard shortcut a few more times to zoom farther in. And now I'll just go ahead and scroll over a little bit so that we can see Michelangelo's face as well as this text, which is looking absolutely smooth. And so the good news is that you can scale this graphic to any size that you like, and you'll get great results. The bad news is that we can't edit the graphic inside of Firefox or any other web browser. So I'll go up to the Firefox menu and choose the quick command once again, and then I'll run through those same steps again. So with the welcome.svg graphic open, I'll right-click on it and choose the Get Info command. And then I'll click on this Open With pop-up menu, choose the most recent version of Illustrator CC, and click on the Change All button, and finally click Continue. And now, if I go ahead and close this panel and double-click on the SVG file, it once again opens up inside of Illustrator. All right, now the last thing I want you to note is that you may end up seeing your open files inside of a floating window, which means that you can see through to other applications in the background. I frankly prefer to let Illustrator consume the entire screen so that I can focus on this very powerful application. And if you want to make that happen as well, then go up to the Window menu and choose the Application Frame command. Now, this command is turned on by default, but I just want you to notice it's here because it's only available with the Macintosh version of Illustrator. And so notice if I turn that command on, then I can't see any other applications in the background, and I can focus exclusively on Illustrator. And incidentally, that's the way I'll be working in all of the future movies inside of this course. And that, friends, is how you set things up so that you can open AI, EPS, and SVG files inside of Illustrator just by double-clicking on the file's icon at the Macintosh Finder.